Hey everyone, it's Jamie. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share a story that stuck with me since I was a kid. You know how some dreams just feel a little too real? Well, this one definitely takes the cake. I was about 12 years old, and like a lot of kids, I went through this phase of having some pretty intense nightmares. For a while, it was the classic evil clowns. You know, the ones with the creepy smiles and the weird, colorful hair. They were scary enough, but they were nothing compared to what came next. One night, I made the classic mistake of watching a horror movie while I was home alone. Big mistake. I don't even remember the movie itself, but my imagination clearly took it and ran with it. Later that night, I fell asleep, and that's when the nightmare began. It wasn't just a dream. It felt like I had woken up in some twisted, alternate reality. The first thing I saw was this building, this massive, dark structure that just loomed over everything. And inside this building, there was another me. Another Jamie, but he wasn't me. He was older, maybe late teens or early 20s, and just radiated this pure, cold evil. This evil Jamie was in charge. He was the master of this place, and he wasn't alone. He commanded this army of monsters, creatures that looked like they'd crawled out of someone's darkest fears. But the creepiest part wasn't the monsters. It was the other kids. There were so many of them, all around my age, but their eyes were completely blank, totally empty. They moved like puppets, taking orders from the monsters, who were in turn controlled by my evil twin. It was like they were all part of this bizarre, terrifying hive mind, and he was at the center of it all. I was hiding, watching this whole scene unfold, just frozen with fear. The atmosphere was so heavy, so oppressive. The kids were doing these strange, repetitive tasks, almost like they were building something or preparing for something awful. Their movements were jerky and unnatural. I remember seeing one of the monsters, this tall, spindly thing with too many joints in its arms, gesturing towards one of the kids. The kid just nodded silently and walked off to do its bidding. The complete lack of emotion was what made my skin crawl. There was no fear, no resistance, just this chilling obedience. My heart was pounding in my chest. I knew I had to get out of there. I tried to move, to sneak away. But in the world of dreams, you're never as quiet as you think you are. One of the kids, a girl with long, dark hair covering her face, suddenly stopped what she was doing. Her head snapped in my direction. She hadn't seen me, but she'd sensed me. Then, her head slowly tilted, and she let out this sound, not quite a scream. More like a high-pitched hum that echoed through the entire building. Instantly, all the other kids and monsters stopped. Everything went silent. And then, every single head turned towards me. Every pair of empty eyes was locked onto my hiding spot. Evil Jamie, my older, darker self, just smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was a slow, predatory grin that promised nothing good. He pointed a single finger at me, and that was the signal. The kid who had spotted me started lunging in my direction, her movements unnaturally fast, like a spider. She was scrambling across the floor, getting closer and closer. I was completely paralyzed. I couldn't scream, I couldn't run. She reached out her hand, her fingers just inches from my face. And right at that moment, I woke up. I shot up in bed, drenched in sweat, my heart hammering against my ribs so hard I thought it would break. The dream was gone, but the terror was still very, very real. The first thing I heard was barking. My dog, Captain, was going absolutely nuts, barking his head off right by my bed. He had jumped up and was licking my face, whining, just totally frantic. It was like he knew. It was like he sensed how scared I was and had jumped into action to save me from the nightmare. Gosh, I miss that dog. Captain was the best dog ever, my little furry guardian angel. He stayed right by my side for the rest of the night, and I swear, I didn't have another nightmare for months after that. He really was my hero. So that's my crazy nightmare story. It just goes to show you, maybe don't watch scary movies when you're 12 and home alone. And always appreciate your pets. You never know when they might have to rescue you from your evil twin. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you have any wild dream stories of your own, I'd love to read them in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe for more stories. I'll see you all in the next one.